How to fund a startup. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get your startup or existing business funded. I'm going to show you a number of ways to get your business funded so you can start a new business or rocket your current business to where you want it to be. There are many ways to fund a startup, and this is an area where many people struggle. So let's take a look at how to fund a startup business or raise financing for an existing business. I'll get this one out of the way first, as it's a way to fund a business, but this should be the absolute last resort. This is funding a business on a credit card. If you do fund any part of the business with a credit card, you must prioritize this as something you pay off first before any other form of borrowing. Don't forget, you will be personally liable for the credit card debt, as banks don't tend to give startup businesses credit card facilities. And even if they do, you can guarantee that your house will be secured against the credit card debt. We all know credit cards have a ridiculous APR, and you can soon get into trouble borrowing on a credit card to fund a business. So don't go putting tens of thousands on a credit card. If you're in a situation where you have to do this, then you need to wait to raise finances from elsewhere before starting your business. Only use credit cards as a last resort to make up a financial shortfall in the short term. Next, we look into startup loans or bank loans in general. If you can get a startup loan, they're usually at a preferential rate, although you must jump through a lot of hoops to get them, maybe a bit more than the normal conventional bank loan. You'll have to put your house up as a guarantee on a startup loan or normal business loan from the bank usually, or have a guarantor in the background. This is someone who will pay the loan if you can't pay it for any reason. Banks aren't in the business of losing cash, so they always want some form of security against a loan that will be used for a startup. They will probably want to see business plans and the credibility of the person starting a business who needs the loan. I have used Virgin startup loans previously. They have been great in encouraging new businesses, and they also provide loads of support for people who need it, and actually provide you with a business mentor throughout your first 12 months to keep you on track and help you to get your business started the right way, which is helpful for people who don't have as much experience in business. Next, we look at business startup grants. Certain types of businesses may be eligible for government or local grants to get money for free. Yes, free to fund your startup. There are certain industries the government is trying to push forward, and as such, you may be eligible for a business grant you won't have to pay back. Many of these grants are in the form of R&D grants for innovation. R&D is research and development, so anytime you are inventing something or making it better to develop a new product or service. And also, don't forget about your R&D tax credits, which you can claim back against your tax bill. Startup grants are a great way to access free money if you qualify. Check online what is available in your area, and you may be surprised at what you can get. It's worth taking a look. Again, a lot of hoop jumping, but it's worth it for the money you will have injected into your business. Next is sweat equity. This is a way of getting stuff for little or no cost, or a way of you getting equity into another business if you have a desirable skill that the company needs at a time when they can't afford to pay you. In return, you get a share in the future success of the company. This can go either way, though. It can pay off for you in the long term when the company starts making money, as you'll be getting passive income and paid over and over again for the work you've done in the past. But on the other hand, if the business fails, you don't get anything. If you are the one starting a business, and for example, you have a great idea for a product and you need it designed but can't afford to pay someone to do the work, you can offer them equity in the business to do that work and share in the future success of the business. This works the same if you need a complex e-commerce website design or an app design, but you can't afford to pay someone. Offer them sweat equity to do the work, but be careful about how much equity you give away. Make sure they are providing the value for the equity you want to give away, and also make sure you get along with the person, as once you give them sweat equity, they are then part of the business for life. Redundancy money or severance pay is another way to fund a startup business. And this is one where you're in a good position to start a business, as to get severance money or redundancy pay, you have just lost your job. So you have the best of both worlds, time and money. Just make sure you don't blow the whole redundancy amount on your startup. You will obviously need to budget the money for you to live on until your business starts generating the cash flow. The next thing you can do to raise funds for a startup is to ask friends and family. This is one of the most popular forms of funding a startup, asking your friends and family to put some money into your business if they think it's a good idea. You can do this in several ways. You can offer the family member equity in the business, but if they are not business savvy, you will have to explain to them that if they take equity in the business and the business fails, they will lose all their money. Make sure this is crystal clear, as I have seen this bite people before, and families and friends can fall out over money. It's worth putting a simple agreement together so that everyone understands the terms of the investment. The other option is to take it as a loan. So your friend or family member loans you the money, and it's either paid back as a lump sum at a future date or paid back monthly, starting at a date in the future over a set period of time. Make sure you agree to start these payments when you think the business should be making money, as you don't want to add any more stress of paying something back when you are trying to get the business off the ground. The loan can be interest-free if they just want to help you out, or you can agree on an interest rate at which you're going to pay them back. I would always offer them a slightly better rate of interest than they would get from having their money sitting in the bank, as I don't believe anyone should be out of pocket for doing you a favor. Also, don't take money from people who can't afford to lose it. Be sensible on this one, as if your business fails, so could your relationship with that person. Next, we look at funding a startup by using existing employment. If you're thinking of starting a business while you're still employed, you can obviously use your existing salary to fund the startup. I would always recommend that you start your business while you still have the safety net of existing employment. This is what is referred to as a side hustle. You build the business up while you're still working. Then when your side hustle overtakes your main source of income, or has the potential to if you jump into it full time, then this is the time you quit your job. This could work out as perfect timing if there are talks of people being laid off at the company you work for, as you may be able to get a redundancy package or severance pay rather than just leaving with nothing. This is not always possible, but worth considering. Next, let's look at a more recent form of funding, and that is crowdfunding. This is a pretty new way of funding a business and is quite popular at the minute. The way this works is like pre-selling your product or idea on a crowdfunding platform such as Kickstarter. There are a few of them around now. It works by creating a pitch page about your business, product, or idea, and the earlier adopters, i.e. people who are interested in your product, buy a product when it is developed at a discount rate for paying money up front or receive some other benefit for giving you a small bit of money. This works well if your idea is a good one, and if many people put money in, you can soon have a substantial amount of cash to fund your startup. For example, if 10,000 people give you $10, that's $100,000 for your startup you don't have to pay back. The other benefit of this is that it gives your product a lot of exposure with a successful crowdfunding campaign, and you can also get an idea of the demand for your product before you spend the money to develop it, so you're winning all around. Next, let's look at angel investment. Another popular form of raising finance is through angel investments. This was made famous by TV programs such as Dragon's Den in the UK or Shark Tank in the USA. This is where wealthy people, who are often business owners themselves, put an amount of money into the business and take equity in the business in return. The added benefit of angel investors is that as they are often really successful business people, they can give help and advice on running the business and even open doors for you that you otherwise wouldn't get access to. As the angel investors have a vested interest in your business succeeding, they'll be more than willing to help your business succeed and will often help you do it far quicker than you would have been able to otherwise. So keep all this in mind when you consider the equity you will give them. Make sure you always retain control of 51% or more, but give them a good enough cut to keep them interested. You can always negotiate a reducing equity deal to where you give them a higher percentage of the business to start with, then it reduces when they have been paid back on their initial investment. This is always a good idea if the initial equity they want in your business is more than you wanted to give away. Now we look at personal savings. Personal savings is by far the best way to fund a business. This way you are not paying any interest on any loans, you are not taking money from anyone you know, and you are not giving away any equity in your business. You are simply using your own money to fund your dream. Sometimes, though, it's okay to take investment from elsewhere, like an angel investor, even if you have savings. This is to spread the risk a little bit. When I started my e-commerce business, I had enough money to put more money into it to grow it. But at that time, I was at the limit of what I was prepared to risk financially on the idea. So I took an angel investment in the business in return for equity in the business. But if you want to own 100% of the business and are happy with the risks, then self-funding the business is always the best route to go. It costs the least and you are only borrowing from yourself, so there is no pressure to pay it back. Just don't bet the farm on any single idea. This means don't put everything you have into one business idea, because if it fails, you have nothing to fall back on. Please don't forget to subscribe. And if you have gotten any value out of this video, please hit the like button and share this with any other people looking to start a business.